Who has the gayest, low IQ, dumb male, blonde joke, political infant podcast in the world? Joe Rogan. Answer A. Answer B. Also Joe Rogan. So Joe Rogan came out and let it rip, okay? In the most expected way possible. Joe Rogan, on his latest episode or whatever, gave a endorsement to RFK Jr. Okay, let's watch.
That's just what they do. That's politics. They do it on the left. They do it on the right. They gaslight you. They manipulate you. They promote narratives. And the only one who's not doing that is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
You a fan?
Yeah, I am a fan. Yeah, he's the only one that makes sense to me. He's the only one that he doesn't attack people. He attacks actions and ideas, but he's much more reasonable and intelligent. I mean, the guy was an environmental attorney and cleaned up the East River. I mean, he's a legitimate guy. You know, before anybody started calling him an anti-vaxxer, which I thought he was too. I thought he was this nut, this like conspiracy theorist nut, until I read his book. I read The Real Anthony Fauci.
Bro, you're a conspiracy theorist nut. So, of course, you read his book and you were like, oh, I agree with this.
And I'm like, what?
I love when people go, oh, dude, I thought he was a conspiracy theorist. The guy is a conspiracy theorist. And then and then I read his book about conspiracy theories and I agreed with them because I'm a conspiracy theorist. And I went, oh, my God, everything clicked.
How much of this is real? Because if it's all real, this is fucking insane. And we live in a world where we're being manipulated by these health organizations that are being paid by the pharmaceutical drug interests. And these pharmaceutical drug.
So I talked about this extensively yesterday. It's so funny that these guys are basically describing capitalism, how it works, but then like still attributing it to like some random evil. This is like at the heart of liberalism. That's why liberalism, which is anti-materialist in terms of like analyzing the world, has a real hard time avoiding, Nazi sentiments and fascist sentiments, because like every single conspiracy theory ultimately leads to an outgroup, and that outgroup of like shadowy figures almost always is considered Jewish, right? That's how so many of these conspiracy theories, whether it's like flat earthers that think like NASA is owned by the Jews, or any number of different conspiracy theories that like probably start off as not very dangerous, almost always needs to find a scapegoat. Okay, the scapegoat can take different forms. You can call them globalists, the elite, shadowy cabal. You can call them Jews, but most of it is just terminology designed to talk about a group of shadowy figures in the outgroup that is like both weak and also simultaneously very powerful. And historically speaking, it's always Jewish people, right? He's an anti-vaxxer simp. Oh, hell no, you're a conspiracy theorist too. They are not describing capitalism. You are wrong. That's just copium. Please do not ban this person, mods. I like this one. That's just delusional paranoia. Yes, you're right. He's not describing capitalism. Pharmaceutical corporations, which he will describe in a second, having people that go into the regulatory agencies and what is known as a revolving door is actually not just in the pharmaceutical industry, it's in every industry. And that in and of itself is a byproduct of existing under a capitalist organization of the economy and ensuring that the regulatory agencies are still, doing the bidding of these mega corporations. Okay. Sometimes the interests of the omega wealthy actually end up aligning with the interests of the cattle, the regular citizenry, the working class. In the case of vaccines, it does. They want you not to fucking, they want you not to die. Okay. Because you're valuable as cattle. You're valuable as workers. Okay. So they don't want you to actually fucking die. They don't want you to gum up the works. They don't want you to fuck up the hospital networks. They want you to be able to go back to work 3 days instead of taking 3 weeks off. That's why vaccines are important for everyone. But ultimately, if you care about, mitigating some of the worst consequences of COVID, then yes, you should get vaccinated. So your interests align in that regard. That's precisely why all of these like billionaires and millionaires were getting the vaccine before anybody else. Okay. Having said that, however, these nutters still exist. And then they point to like the very valid skepticism that exists within big pharma and the revolving door between the regulatory agencies. And that Pharmacy company want to keep you alive because of that's how they make money. Oh my God. But don't you want to stay alive? Like, this is exactly what I'm trying to explain to you. And no, you're wrong. Globally speaking, or at least even historically speaking, that is not what has driven pharmaceutical innovation. Even to this day, medical innovation is not simply operated on the profit motive. What turns medicine sour, I would say, what actually holds back innovation in the medical field is literally the profit motive. Dumping a shitload of money into R&D, but the R&D is not actually finding new ways of using existing medication for different ailments, but instead finding new ways of extending your patent is actually against innovation. It actually harms innovation in the medical field. But most novel chemical compounds are still found in publicly funded research facilities, not by people who want to fucking, make billions of dollars or whatever, but oftentimes just people working to genuinely advance mankind, people working to, make medicine readily available. That's why some of the most important medical innovation in the form of novel chemical compounds and their application in the medical field have come from people who have literally given their patents out for no money whatsoever. Okay, insulin being a phenomenal example of this. I don't know why I'm brought out to the forefront. I agree. Yeah, I mean, he is anti-vax though. Yeah, landlords want to sell you houses, you need shelter, or landlords want you to rent the house from them and you need shelter, so you have no choice. That doesn't mean houses are bad as a concept. Thank you. That is a brilliant analogy, chatter. Thank you so much. Okay? I believe that the profit motive should be completely ripped away from medical innovation and the field of pharmaceuticals in general and healthcare in general, okay? I am a major advocate for free healthcare. Major advocate for free healthcare. I think it's gross. It's disgusting. There is an inelastic demand there regardless. So even from a hyper-capitalist framework, everybody understands. Anyone with basic Econ 101, anyone who's ever taken a microecon or macroecon principles class understands that healthcare has inelastic demand and therefore has to be heavily regulated. Okay? That's it. What will be the incentive to innovate? What do you mean, brother? What do you mean? I just explained to you that there is no incentive to innovate in terms of profit right now. Almost all of the novel chemical compounds come from pharmaceutical research happening at publicly funded institutions. You think scientists are only doing science because they want to fucking make money? That's crazy. Anyway, so a lot of this mismatch in this field specifically, the anti-vaxxer shit, is literally born out of that weird juxtaposition of looking at your medical care professionals and thinking of them as people who are trying to farm you, people who are trying to make money off of you. That is where a lot of this skepticism comes from. And I don't think people understand how dangerous that is for the future of mankind. Okay? It should not be profit driven. The people that actually make out like bandits in the pharmaceutical field, in the field of medicine, are not the actual fucking grad researchers. Okay? They're barely making ends meet. I fear that you've never actually met someone who is a PhD, who is actually a grad student working on this research. So you just in your mind think these are all homosexual Marxists, but then also simultaneously multimillionaires only working on this kind of stuff specifically for the profit motive, when it is the furthest from the truth. Okay? They make maximum $30,000 a year, barely can make ends meet. And the only reason why they're doing it is because they want to advance mankind. Okay? That's it. They have genuine fascination with whatever they're working on, and they want to also make the world a better place. This is a normal incentive that a lot of human beings have. Okay? The people that are actually making the money are executives that don't actually play a role in the research part at all. They are the ones who then land on the patents and then try to work as best as they can to extend those patents. Use all the money that they make and dump it back into marketing. Use all the money that they make and dump it back into research and development, but not necessarily for novel chemical compound discovery, but instead research and development for new mechanisms of delivery. This is a trick that pharmaceutical companies use, Big Pharma uses, to extend the patents that they have. Okay? Oh, this was a normal drug that you need, but now you can put it up your asshole. So we still maintain fucking another 5-year extension on the patent. So you can't get the generic version. So yeah, there's a lot of issues here. Proof of your point. Doctors without borders, medical professionals who do make lots of money, still go out into dangerous areas and give care for free. Exactly. People always talk about how, profit motives, and including Joe Rogan, who doesn't understand it, by the way. Joe Rogan doesn't understand the problem. He's literally talking about like how the systems are so broken fundamentally, but doesn't understand what the reasoning is. So inevitably, you just go back to this, they are doing this attitude. Who is they? Well, Joe Rogan himself might not think it's Jews. I don't think he is. I don't think he believes that. But plenty of people do attribute the they to Jews. But it's not the anti-Semitism in this circumstance that I'm like, that I'm complaining about. It's the lack of interest in like examining the underlying reasons as to why this structural problem exists. And the structural problem exists because of capitalism, because people have lied for years and years about the profit motive and how that is the only reason why people do shit. Anyway,
companies are pumping these products out into the population and telling us that we need them, and then making insane amounts of money. And then also the government is in on it, and also they share a patent with Moderna, and also they share profits. And there's $700 million, however much money was made, whatever the number is that these guys made off of these products. Like, this is, all of it is fucking crazy. There's the revolving door between the CDC and the FDA and then these pharmaceutical drug companies. So the people that make the regulations then go on to have these cushy jobs with the pharmaceutical drug corporations. Like, oh, nothing to see here. It's like, it's open. It's right out in the open.
Right.
And when he talks about all that stuff in his book, you're just like, what the fuck, man? If this wasn't true, he would be sued.
No. American freedom of speech, unfortunately, in a circumstance like this, fortunately it exists, but unfortunately in circumstances like this one, make it virtually impossible to fucking genuinely be litigious against someone who writes unhinged shit in a book. Okay? That's it.
So it seems to be true.
Yeah.
And it's a scary thing because people don't want to talk about it because they don't want to be attacked. They don't want to be called an anti-vaxxer. That's a big one.
Right.
Anyway, so he endorsed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in this video. What I find very funny about this is that he had a bit of a Kyle Rittenhouse moment. He endorsed RFK Jr. and immediately the Republicans were like, oh, what the fuck? Fuck you. Cat turd, one of my favorite political commentators in the space, probably the GOAT, the greatest of all time to do it, the greatest white boy to ever do it, came out and was talking about how Joe Rogan is gay. Like, literally, immediately. It's like that. They have one defense. They did this. Do we have the, I know he pulled back on the endorsement. Guys, stop spoiling. I know. Do we have the cat turd trifecta talking about Joe Rogan and first defending Joe Rogan? I saw like a triple Monty out there on my Twitter timeline where it was like a compilation of cat turd takes about Joe Rogan, making fun of everyone that makes fun of Joe Rogan, and then turning around and then shitting on Joe Rogan himself. Oh, here it is. Thank you. Cat turd, the left crying about Joe Rogan 24/7 is making him 1,000 times more popular. Dear leftist, ... Joe Rogan can say anything he wants on his podcast, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it but cry. Joe Rogan endorses RFK Jr. So I've never been a Joe Rogan fan. Can't stand him. Yes, he has a popular podcast, but I've always thought he was absolutely politically dumb. He's great at figuring things out 2 years after we do. What a legend. So did it surprise me when he endorsed idiot RFK Jr. today? LOL. No. We are talking about the same fucking idiot who endorsed Bernie Sanders, right? He's the podcast equivalent of a dumb blonde joke. Who has the gayest low IQ dumb male blonde joke political infant podcast in the world? Joe Rogan. Answer A. Answer B. Also Joe Rogan. So that's the beauty of it all. These guys are a cult, okay? They are an insane cult.
Former President Trump voiced his disappointment with Joe Rogan on Friday after the podcaster expressed support for independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., though Rogan later clarified that it wasn't an endorsement. Joe Rogan, who hosted the most popular podcast in America last year, has a significant influence with his 14.5 million followers, especially as the 2024 presidential election approaches. Trump posted on his Truth Social platform on Friday, questioning how the UFC audience might react to Rogan's next appearance. It will be interesting to see how loudly Joe Rogan gets booed the next time he enters the UFC ring. MAGA 2024. Rogan, a UFC commentator known for his post fight interviews, made remarks on his podcast released Thursday, criticizing politicians from both parties for being manipulative and promoting narratives, except for RFK Jr.
And they did this to Kyle Rittenhouse the other day as well. I forgot to even cover it because there was so much other stuff going on. But if anyone has the link for the Kyle Rittenhouse memes, I would love to. To show you guys that as well. If you remember, Kyle Rittenhouse also came out and had a brief moment. It was a blip, basically. Okay, where Kyle Rittenhouse themselves came out and was like, "Hey, I don't think I'm going to support Donald Trump." Okay, because Donald Trump is not good at gun laws, right? Donald Trump is not good at gun laws. I have the Joe Rogan Donald Trump thing. Don't worry. I have it. Do we have the original Kyle Rittenhouse tweet? The original tweet. Anyway, so Kyle Rittenhouse, for those of you who don't know, is a person who very specifically went to kill people at a BLM protest as a counter protester, an agitator, got away with it as well. Legal to do that sort of thing. And was a beloved figure by the right for quite some time. But here's what happened to him the other week. Kyle Rittenhouse said he wasn't going to vote for Trump due to him being bad on the Second Amendment. The MAGA circus went immediately ballistic, called him a traitor, and created a conspiracy that he's actually a trans woman and a part of the globalist Illuminati. Here's the video.
Hi, I'm Kyle Rittenhouse, Outreach Director for Texas Gun Rights. A lot of people are upset that I said I'm going to be writing in Ron Paul for President of the United States. And that is true. I will be writing in Ron Paul. Unfortunately, Donald Trump had bad advisors making him bad on the Second Amendment, and that is my issue. If you cannot be completely uncompromisable on the Second Amendment, I will not vote for you, and I will write somebody else in. We need champions for the Second Amendment, or our rights will be eaten away and eroded each day. I support my decision, and I have no takebacks.
So that was wrong. He did have a take back. So after like 24 hours of every Republican immediately doing this to him, he did take it back. It's all a psyop, says Isaac's Army. He's a she. Q told us symbolism will be their downfall. Q told us infiltration instead of invasion. They literally started saying he was actually a woman and also gay and also a Freemason and also Illuminati and possibly Jewish. So then he turned around and said, over the past 12 hours, I've had a series of productive conversations with members of the Trump's team, and I'm confident he will be the strong ally gun owners need to defend our Second Amendment rights. My comments made last night were ill-informed and unproductive. I'm 100% behind Donald Trump and encourage every gun owner to join me in helping send him back to the White House. Okay? They are out of control. The Republicans are so insane at this point that they immediately go, oh, you don't want Trump? You must be a gay trans person, a gay trans woman who is actually secretly a woman. Here's another version of events as well. Biological female. This is a female shoulder to hip ratio, female Q angle, no space. Kyle Rittenhouse, female skeletal markers, oval female skull, small ear, slopping jaw. Like, I'm telling you right now, if the number of people who operate like this continues to grow, if the number of people who operate like this continue to grow, it's over. I mean, it's already over. The American project is done. Okay, it's done. We have been fucking running on fumes. Okay, this is not bait. I'm telling you, back in the day, there only used to be people like this who would be screaming at you on top of a fucking soapbox outside of a subway station. Now those guys are on Twitter. And others like them are also on Twitter going, wait a minute, this guy's right. Okay. We are slowly growing the number of people who are giving themselves schizophrenia. Okay. They did this to Andrew Tate as well. Beloved figures on the right, the moment that they sidestep from whatever like the prevailing right-wing narrative is, the moment that they sidestep, they're like, oh, you're a woman. You're actually a woman. You're a trans woman, and you are a gay and also a woman. Yeah, they're now transvestigating Andrew Tate. I guess she forgot to wear her fake penis. I told everyone about this a while back. It's all of them. If they are on stage, they are part of the inverter show. He/she blocked me for calling him/her a transformer. Those sloping shoulders, and her sister is even worse with those huge hips. It's so obvious. Cock watching. Bro, I'm telling you, we went from pocket watching to cock watch. Oh, it's so good. And the Republicans lost their minds over Joe Rogan as well. So Trump, alongside the rest of the Republicans, the reason why I did the sidestep away from the Kyle Rittenhouse phenomena is because they got one speed. Immediately, they pounce, right? So Joe Rogan was forced to basically make a fucking statement, okay? Because they built this audience. It's filled to the brim with dumbass hogs, and they just kind of are audience captured in that regard, okay? They're just audience captured in that regard. They now are too invested in maintaining this grift, or rather, like, they believe some of the statements that they're making, but maybe not all of it. But because their audience is so massively right-wing, because they've pandered so much to the fucking hogs, that they can't even say, like, I kind of like RFK Jr. without everybody calling them gay and trans women, okay? They're claiming they're trans men, not trans women. Fuck, you're right. I'm sorry. It's just so insane. It confused me. Okay, you're right. They're calling them trans men and secretly biological women or whatever. You're right. I'm sorry that I fucked up my proper misgendering. Because, bro, they did this with Dylan Mulvaney. Remember Dylan Mulvaney? One can. Dylan was on the Bud Light can. Everybody was like going crazy for months, for like a month actually. They think Dylan Mulvaney was actually a biological woman, assigned female at birth. Then she was transed into being a man, and then she was retransed into being a woman again. Like, you're insane, brother. You have to realize, like, you've lost your fucking mind. You lost your dang mind, bro. Anyway, so Joe Rogan, after Donald Trump pounced on him, as well as everybody else, Cat Turd and all these people were like so fucking mad at Joe. Trump joins his supporters in attacking Joe Rogan for saying he's an RFK Jr. fan. It will be interesting to see how loudly Joe Rogan gets booed at the next time he enters the UFC ring, MAGA 2024. They're eating his ass. So he now turned around and posted a tweet. He said, for the record, this isn't an endorsement. This is me saying that I like RFK Jr. as a person, and I really appreciate the way he discusses things with civility and intelligence. I think we could use more of that in this world. I also think Trump raising his fist and saying fight after getting shot is one of the most American fucking things of all time. I'm not the guy to get political information from. If you want that from a comic, go to Comic Dave Smith. He actually knows what he's talking about. I like Omar Badar posting this like Joe Rogan's going to listen to John Oliver about the vaccine shit. I listen to Joe Rogan daily, and this is upsetting. He built a community around the top of the hour ad break. I'm defeated. I feel so goddamn defeated. Yes, at the top of the hour, there is a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $6 or for free with Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You get one free Prime subscription a month. Who's Nithix is gifting 5 tier 1 gift subs to the community. Thank you. Here's the 3-minute here's the 3-minute ad break now. Hogs were crying about the endorsement. Thanks for clearing this up because I was literally crying about it. You are not normal. You have lost your fucking mind if you're crying about Joe Rogan endorsing RFK Jr. over Donald Trump. Okay? Holy moly. Anyway, but Joe Rogan wasn't the only person. Okay, so they did this with Joe because much like Democrats, they're now vote shaming, which I personally love. Keep up the good work. You only do this if you want to lose, okay? Apparently, the neo-Nazi Trump invited to dinner alongside Kanye West has revoked their support. White supremacist and far-right political pundit Nick Fuentes shockingly revoked his support from Trump's campaign early Friday, announcing on social media that he and his allies believe that the presidential bid is headed for a catastrophic loss. Okay, young groypers are posting about how sad they are, but it doesn't end there. Setback for the RFK Jr. campaign. Right-wing YouTuber Tim Pool says he'll vote for him, and RFK thanks him. But now Pool, after facing criticism for cat dirt and other prominent MAGA figures for abandoning Trump, says he was just kidding and won't be voting for RFK after all. That was a short-lived, haha, I was just kidding moment from Tim Pool, who, you know, is famous for this kind of haha, just kidding moments. He's a kidder. He loves the jokes. He's a big jokester. RFK Jr. says, I'm so grateful to you, Tim, for your confidence in me, but most of all, for your steadfast defense of the Constitution and relentless love for our country. Oof, I really stepped in it this time. Ha ha ha, holy crap, I'm voting for Trump. What the fuck? Wait, I thought Tim was a centrist. I can't believe Hogs thought RFK was siphon votes from Biden. Yeah, that was awesome. Do the Trump cult get proud for bullying them into apologizing, or do they believe they magically had an epiphany? You do this when you are losing, okay? You play bully ball and you fucking bully voters and you vote shame when you're losing, okay? That's it. Yes, I am trolling in response to people attacking Joe Rogan and Kyle Rittenhouse. There's no real argument against voting Trump, but fuck me. Some of these diehard MAGAs are destructive as the left is. Anyway, I love this stuff. I hate it when the Democratic Party does this. Think about if you are a liberal, okay? If you're in the chat, and there's a lot of liberals amongst us right now because there's a lot of people tuning back into the election, excited about Kamala Harris, reinvigorated. Remember how funny it is when Cat Turd starts yelling about Joe Rogan for his endorsement of not Trump, okay? Don't do that. Don't fucking do that, okay? Don't be like the fucking MAGA cultists. This is why we say you look like the MAGA cultists. You look like Blue Anon. You look like Blue MAGA. Rasmussen, Trump up 5 points. I want Trump to win. You will not turn things around by denying reality or insulting moderates. Drop your egos. It's so funny. Dude, no, they're like, are we trusting polls now? I love that. Yes. No, you're right. You shouldn't trust the polls. Trump is doing great. Rasmussen. I'm going to be honest with you. MAGA influencers need to chill out and stop acting like losers. You're not helping anything. In fact, you're actively hurting Trump. Joe Rogan is a celebrity. Suddenly, we're supposed to care about celebrity opinions. The internet is not real life. Sign off and harvest the ballot. I love that they are doing this. It's like, bro, you can't say MAGA influencers chill out and stop acting like losers when you look like this, okay? When you are the quarter pounder. But yeah, they're in a dire fucking situation and they recognize it. And why? Why are they in a dire situation? Because the Democratic Party, for the first time ever, in a sequence of W after W, has actually responded to the pressure because it happened to be a perfect planet-aligned moment where the donors, the voters, and Nancy Pelosi, most importantly, were all in agreement that Biden needs to get swapped out of the ticket. So they responded to that pressure and they did it. Then they followed along with that additional pressure and made another good move. They made Tim Walz the VP, basically locking them down on progressive policies, making bold, declarative, out and about progressive policies your mainstay, your actual platform. Okay? All the while, notice how Republicans have no response to that because they are not used to running against a good fucking strategy. Do you understand? Republicans are not used to running against actual good strategy. They don't know how to do it. They've never done it. They don't know what to do. They're flailing. Kind of new to American politics. Does the VP have actual any political leverage? It can. Anyway, the VP is supposed to be like the person who controls Congress, both in the Senate, but also like the person who just basically controls Congress, like is the surrogate for the presidency.
Kamala Harris is experiencing a surge of success while Donald Trump faces a series of setbacks. Harris enjoys encouraging poll numbers and, more importantly, momentum. In contrast, Trump is grappling with repeated mistakes and a shaky campaign team. In just under 3 weeks, the Democrats have orchestrated one of the most remarkable turnarounds in US political history, swapping a candidate on the brink of defeat for one who now seems to be ascending towards political potential victory. However, even as Harris speaks of bringing joy, there is an underlying risk, a familiar peril that looms. The reason for the Democrats' newfound optimism are clear. They are heading to Chicago for a convention that was expected to be a somber event but now feels like a celebration. Before July 21, they were anchored to Joe Biden, whose presidency, though more impactful than many anticipated, was on a trajectory for a significant loss in November. His decision to pass the baton to his vice president has gone far better than anyone could have expected.
These guys are not wrong. But what they fail to comprehend is they fed into the Republicans being psychotic losers and extra weird. Okay? They did that. It's you guys, dumbass. You can't just like swap it out in the last second. You can't just like do incredibly weird, hyper focused on trans panic, hyper focused on like the skull science narratives for years and years and years, and then in the last moment turn around and be like, oh, we were actually normal, like we were trying to just cut taxes. Like, what? I don't understand. Like, you can't do that. You already primed the schizos in your base.
Real quick on all this dumb infighting and melting down. First it was Kyle Rittenhouse, now it's Joe Rogan. Look, Joe Rogan endorsed Bernie Sanders in 2016 and Trump won easily. Has everybody who is one of these mega influencers completely forgot about 2016 and how every poll had Hillary ahead until the very end? Has everybody forgot how Cory Bush had a million Twitter followers and got beat by a relative nobody with 10,000 Twitter followers? Twitter is not real life. It's getting really cringe seeing so many of these quote unquote mega influencers melt down and react emotionally to what is obviously a Kamala psyop. These images that get out that many people are saying are AI, the fact that she had a concert in a wildly popular band's hometown, and it was a free concert of Bon Iver in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
He's like, hey man, don't be weird and like over the top right wing, while simultaneously repeating talking points that he saw on Twitter that are weird and over the top right wing. That it's a psyop, that the only reason why there's a lot of momentum behind Kamala Harris is because of fucking Bon Iver. Like, are you insane? Or Bon Iver, however you fucking say it. Like, you are the problem, dumbass. Also, this is really funny. Apparently, again, abject denial of reality. He made a video on me. Someone just sent me the link. Leftoids meltdown over Trump.
Camera.
It's not working, man. Only 100,000 views, big dog. What's happening?
It for a long time. The Nelk Bros gave him a big gift. Here's Hasanabi's.
It is quite literally an FEC campaign contribution violation. Okay? Just so you understand. I am right. He is wrong. Doesn't really matter because nothing really matters for these guys. The truth doesn't matter. The rules or anything like that doesn't matter. But again, you are the weirdo, okay? You are the weirdo. You are the reason why so many in the base is so primed and ready to go with like, with these unhinged conspiracies that make everybody look differently at the Republican Party.
Hometown. Everyone's like, oh my God, the Kamala phenomenon is real. Trump needs to fire his campaign manager. Oh my God. Holy crap. I'm getting
like, bro, you can't come back from being a basement pisser, right? You just can't. Like, you're already a weirdo in every sense of the word, right?
Real time.
But like beyond that, you're also pumping out videos daily about like trans panic shit. Like, those are the real reasons why the Republicans are seemingly very off-putting.
fired a lot of these mega influencers that are suddenly now doom pilling, because the point of the Kamala psyop is exactly this, and you're falling for it. Okay, I'm not going to call anyone out by name because, you know, it's not helpful. The fact is, all these huge crowds and all these polls that are coming out.
Hold on, I gotta quote retweet this. After you're giving him a platform, he already has a big platform. Shut the fuck up. I don't know, to be honest, the trans stuff does kind of do numbers. Yes, weird but trans online. Okay, that's the whole point. What does numbers online doesn't translate to fucking votes, because the motherfuckers that vote are your grandparents, okay? The motherfuckers that vote are your parents. They're business owners. They ain't online like you are. They go outside. They don't know any of this shit. They don't give a fuck about Brie Larson's titties, bro. Oddly specific. Yeah, oddly specific to him. This is what he does. Have deluded ultra online right wing grievances, normal voters. Weirdos don't realize they are the problem, and it's far too late to change trajectory after making 8 videos a day about Brie Larson and Dylan Mulvaney. Republicans have deluded themselves into thinking ultra online right wing grievances are shared by normal voters. Like, that's the phenomena that actually works when you're really fucking online, right? That's why, here, I'll give you an example about myself. Many of you, because you use Twitter all the fucking time, think like, oh, Hasan, you are hated by so many people. You are just like genuinely despised by people. People fucking hate you. They want to kill you. And there are a shit ton of people who do hate me. Okay? They're just not in the real world. Most people have no fucking clue who I am. I keep trying to explain to you guys this, right? I am not like a household name at all. If you have a opinion on me at all beyond like, oh, I think that's like the progressive guy, right? He's like does shit online. He's like an online progressive guy. If you have an opinion on me that is super strong in either direction, that means you're probably very online. Okay? That's it. Most people know me as like the guy who played Among Us with AOC. Not even as the 9/11 guy. Any young people who I mention you to know you as the rich millionaire guy claiming to be socialist? Yes, that is an indication of who you see, okay? That's the whole point. If you think that there are literally like a ton of people who are like, oh, this is a socialist hypocrite guy, you're talking to extremely online people, okay? That's what I'm trying to explain. Most people might know you as at most a D-list celebrity in the real world. Exactly. I tried to explain to you guys this with Valentina Gomez, okay? This person was running for Secretary of State in Missouri, okay? And remember when I told you guys, and there were chatters in here when this video came out, chatters in here were like, well, this actually does work in Missouri. And I told you, fuck no, it doesn't work.
These should get their own category, because before, if a man hit a woman, it used to land him in jail. Now, it gets you a gold medal at the Olympics. These are the worst Olympics in history. They have made a mockery out of Christianity and women. And let me remind you, there's no such thing as a chick with a dick. Keep women's sports female.
Yeah, she got a whopping 7th place. 7th place. Because most people in the Republican primaries that vote for the Republicans in the state of Missouri for the Missouri Secretary of State, if they even knew about this shit, they'd be like, ew, that's gross as fuck. I don't give a fuck about this. Do you understand? Most people look at that and go, oh, that's gross. Most people online look at that and go, ooh, that's based. Finally, someone's saying it. She got 7th place, dude. You have to remember, even Republicans are like, oh, what the fuck? I don't care about this shit. Shut up. You think most people are going to come up to you and confront a 6'4" built dude? Online people expect other online people to be like them? No, that's not the case. That's not what I'm trying to say. You're misunderstanding. I'm not saying that like, oh, my interactions with people in the real world are overwhelmingly positive, so everyone must like me. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that most people don't know who the fuck I am. Okay? If you're in here and you're primed and you literally watch me every day, yeah, you develop this attitude that like everyone must know who he is and everyone must feel the same way that I do. They either love him or they just hate him because you see all the fucking negative shit on Twitter. Most people don't know who the fuck I am. Of course not. And at most, if they do know who the fuck I am, and this is not ego, please understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, okay? The words that are coming, listen to what I am saying and develop some kind of comprehension of what I am saying, okay? Most people in the real world do not know who I am. I am not a relevant figure in most people's lives. I might be relevant in your life, and I might be very relevant in the lives of my haters whose brains I live in rent free. But, you know, most people don't know who the fuck I am, okay? Now, why am I talking about this? You literally talk about this every day. Why am I talking about this? Because I need you to understand that there is a massive difference. There is a massive difference between what plays online and what works in the real world, or what is interesting to people in the real world. There's also a massive difference between what plays online and what actually motivates someone to go out and vote for a party. Hasan, I think you have a little bit of a blind spot as a cis man. There's a lot of transphobia out there. Even if people do find transphobia gross, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I have had this argument a lot. Because you are insecure. What? No. The overwhelming majority of American society is transphobic. Okay? Gender, in the way that most people understand it, is biologically determined, and it is just two genders. Okay? That is the normative position for Americans. Okay? They're wrong, and it will take a very long time to educate people, and, you know, it takes generations. Okay? Having said that, however, most people do not constantly obsess over trans people unless they become transphobic to a certain degree. There's tiers to it. Most people are just like, yeah, I don't really understand this gender stuff. It's weird. It's gross. Whatever. Okay, they move on with their lives. But some people go in the opposite direction where they just become pathologically obsessed and they start saying like, this is the most important thing of all time. We have to talk about swim meets in high schools. What if there are trans women participating in the high school swim meet? We have to stop this. We have to put an end to this immediately. Everyone, trans people are all around. They're in every corner, and it just captures their entire brain. It eats away at their consciousness. That level of pathological obsession with trans people is off-putting to normal people who might even agree with them on the trans thing when they're like, yeah, they're weird and gross. I don't really get it. But then they turn around and go, why the fuck do you care this much? Nobody ultimately gives a single shit about anything that much. Okay? Do you understand? Genuinely asking Hasan, would you agree that Fox News is perpetuating these chronically online takes or no? Yes, they are. Fox News is also dialed in. Okay? Fox News is also dialed in on the extremely online takes. They are. And that is still bad electorally. And I said this in 2022. If you remember, when the midterms happened in 2022, it was supposed to be a fucking red wave, right? Obviously, it's the most expected outcome. When you look at like the historic precedent, when you have an unpopular president, when people are experiencing negative real wage growth, when the cost of living is going up and their actual salaries are not catching up to that, that's insane. That is like an unimaginable L, right? For the president. And the midterms are oftentimes seen as another way to show that like Americans are frustrated with the president. So a red wave was expected. Why didn't it come to fruition? It's because the Republicans dropped the ball and they ran with like insane candidates everywhere. Okay? They ran with like there's kitty litter in schools' classrooms, and they're doing like and these children are becoming cats. They're becoming trans cats. They ran with crime. Think about crime. Crime is all over the place. Crime is crazy. Crime. Okay? They ran with fucking school shooter ass motherfuckers like Blake Masters, thinking that would look well in a place like Arizona. And they put Herschel Walker. Like they put fucking weirdos, bro. They put weirdos who were running weird ass campaigns. And at the time I said,
Former President Donald Trump held a rally in the battleground state of North Carolina to promote his economic plan and refocus his campaign amid a tightening race for the White House. Speaking for 90 minutes in Asheville, Trump promised to lower consumer prices and boost wages through permanent tax cuts, energy policy reforms, and the removal of certain environmental regulations. This rally, held on Wednesday, was Trump's second in 2 weeks, reflecting a slower campaign pace. Throughout the event, Trump often strayed from his economic messages, opting instead to attack his political rival, Vice President Kamala Harris. At one point, he even questioned whether the economy was the most crucial issue of the election, despite his focus on economic topics. Trump did not introduce any new policy proposals but vowed to rapidly drive prices down and make America affordable again if elected for a second term. He criticized the Biden Harris administration for breaking the US economy and asked the audience, does anyone here feel richer under Kamala Harris and Crooked Joe? Notably, inflation in the US recently rose at its slowest pace in over 3 years, offering some relief to consumers and potentially benefiting Harris's campaign. Trump also pledged to reduce energy costs by expanding drilling operations and reversing renewable energy and infrastructure projects approved by President Joe Biden. Interestingly, he stated he would maintain the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, despite previously attempting to repeal it while in office. If you found this video informative, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and thanks for watching.